What's up, nerds? May the force be with all of us as Star Wars month continues. Just want to say, I think Star Wars is for everyone. It is a mythology that unites everyone from different religions, political views, because everyone can relate to George Lucas's modern day monomyth and religion that is the Star Wars universe. Now, there can be legends, there can be the movies themselves, there can be Disney, but one thing that unites all of us is the concept of good and evil and the hero's journey that Star Wars is. And the reason I love Legends so much is there are so many different stories and chosen ones and heroes and villains that anyone can insert themselves into, whether that be a rebel pilot or a Paul Commando, a Sith Lord, a Jedi Knight, and there's like all the different alien species and cultures. It was probably the most in-depth universe mythology in the history of nerdom. And all these factions, all these characters, all these species, all these wars, and the stories that were told. And that is why I love Star Wars so much. It is the collective unconscious turned into a space fantasy epic. That is one of the biggest reasons I love Star Wars. And hashtag fuck Disney, of course. But Disney has made some good movies, like Rogue One. They've made some good comics, some really good comics, some really good movies, some really good games. But, I'm just not a fan of the mass commercialization and the freaking SJW politics that have made their way into Lucasfilm over the last couple of years. But all that aside, Star Wars is will always be the most progressive film franchise in the right way to ever exist. And Legends was a continuation of this. You had Mara Jade Skywalker, you had the Mandalorians, who are a very progressive culture. You had every kind of hero, character of any species, any gender that you could think of. Legends was pushing boundaries the right way 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. There was polyamory in some Star Wars Legends books. There was gay Mandalorians. This is a franchise that has no issue with progressivism and inclusivism, but it's done the right way. It's not done for a me right, me you wrong politics on the internet. It is everyone can be the hero and villain of their own story. Everyone can insert themselves into this universe and be a hero and be inspired or go down the dark path. And the fact there's so many different mythologies and cultures that went into Star Wars is one of the most beautiful universes I have ever seen, I will ever see in this lifetime or the next. It is a modern day religion and monomyth. If Lucas wanted to, he could have created his own propaganda for a nation state if he wanted. He would have he is a great world builder. He can make his own religion like Alistair Crowley and sell it. I have no doubt if he wanted to. But he's not an asshole like Crowley was. Hashtag fuck Crowley. Hashtag fuck Disney. Um, but no, Star Wars was a story of darkness and light, democracy and imperialism, friendship versus power, love versus lust, and it really the Jedi path, and there are so many different Jedi, different interpretations of the Force. There were so many different Force religions and different stories where the heroes and villains made their own choices, and there was not a dogmatic approach. In fact, Lucas condemned the dogmatic approach of the Jedi several times, and Legends did as well. The point is, there is good and evil within all of us, and not oh, little Jimmy went and bought a Playboy. No, real evil. Like, how do I treat people? Am I being loving and kind? Am I being greedy? Am I being selfless? Am I being a good balance between the two? And then you have the New Jedi Order, which was full of just normal, force sensitive human beings. Luke trained an entire order of adults. Some of them were in their 70s when he was rebuilding the order. And allowed them to marry, have kids, and form relationships. The Jedi were simply about fighting for the good guy, making the galaxy a peaceful place, bringing joy and peace and love into Wars is so freaking diverse. All the different cosplayers, content creators, fan fiction. Uh, there's even a Star Wars religion. It's probably a bunch of nerds, extreme nerds who are trying to piss off their G3 parents, but still, there's a Star Wars is now a religion, everybody. Sith and Jedi cosplayers instead of a sermon. Hell fucking yeah. But no, Star Wars is such a diverse medium. There's a Star Wars thing for everyone. A Star Wars cosplay, Star Wars books, Star Wars role playing games, and there's so many different stories and like ways people live out their love of Star Wars. You got the cons, you got the freaking role players, you got the LARPers, you got the Star Wars content creators, Star Wars D&D guys, Star Wars filmmakers. There's so many things in Star Wars, not just the fan base, but the forms of ways we can enjoy this universe from the various different video games, from the various different fan fictions. Yeah, I'm talking about you Sith fan fiction writers, Darth Maul, Darth Talon, Katie. But no, there's so many Star Wars. Star Wars is such a broad thing, and it means so many different things to so many different people. And that's how you can tell if a franchise has spirit and it has solid DNA. There's the toy collectors, there's the musicians, there's the fan fiction writers, there's the cosplayers. Star Wars is for everyone because there's so many different forms of Star Wars that people can relate to. There's the Star Wars philosophers, there's Star Wars stoners like Kevin Smith. Hell yeah, fucking giggity. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a Sith snuff film, okay? I would not mind seeing a Sith snuff film. I would not mind that. I should write that. Disney, pay me. But no, in all seriousness, Gady, Star Wars is for everyone. There's so many people from different walks of life, religions, different political views that can all come together because it's a modern day myth of good versus evil, and it gives us clear vision of what an evil person is and what a good person is and what the balance between the two looks like for everyone. You know, and that's just why Star Wars has such a meaning to me. I mean, they didn't get the Mandalorian culture from the Star Wars Disney canon, which I just freaking love. The Mandalorians are this generation's version of the Jedi. They're so badass. Then you get all the KOTOR fans, the Old Republic fan base, and all the role playing games that Rowan Swoder or people who makes KOTOR mods. You know, and I love this. The role play, the nerdiness, the debauchery, the conventions. That's where the real debauchery happens. And just all the people have such a passion, a personal relationship to this film, this universe, and how they like to roleplay in it and express it in their day-to-day life. That is magic. The greatest legacy of Lucas. Everyone can feel inspired, bring people together from throughout all races, ethnicities, and religions. Bring them together, every kind of person, and help them work towards a better world and fight together against the evils of the universe. That was Lucas's vision for the film franchise, and look what it spawns in the fan base. That is magic. That is God. Lucas really created a new religion through film to tell the stories of Jesus Christ, the Buddha, the Greek heroes of old, and legend continued it with all the Force religions, all the conflicts, and all the heroes and villains of the books, comics, games, and films that Star Wars has made. It has inspired us and has created a concept of interconnectedness, and that each person's journey is different. And it's united so many people with a different form or flavor of Star Wars. And just go to the cons, go to the Star Wars conventions. You will see the most kinky, most weirdest, nerdiest Star Wars outfit cosplay out there. I fucking love it. God bless you, lovely, lovely, filthy degenerates. Star Wars inspires so many people from around the world. Lucas has had kids watch the last moments of in the last moments of their life, watch the films on Skywalker Ranch. Okay, the guy created mythology that will outlive him, and he's the greatest film creator of all time, of the last of this generation, in my opinion, because of what he created. He took the core teachings of all religion and democratize the means of production of myth making, meaning, and becoming a spiritual ascension in alchemy. And he democratized the means of production to create this in society through Star Wars film. And I know it's gonna sound really, really woo-woo, but the more you get into Star Wars, the more you truly live in this universe, the more you realize just how much effort went into this world. Not just by Lucas, but not just by the directors from Timothy Zahn to Dave Filoni, but all the way down to the individual fans who try and be the chosen one of their own journey. And that's why Star Wars is so fascinating to me. It really does. Just the diversity of appearance, the diversity of people who are inspired by this film franchise to either be the hero or villain of their own story. And that is more inspiring than most religions, in my opinion. But Star Wars, getting off the mythic sense here, Star Wars is just look at this galaxy. Look at this universe. Look at games like SWOTR, where you can explore the entire galaxy, land on Hoth, land on Tatooine, be a Sith, be a Jedi, be a Republic trooper, have all these crewmates, go on all these adventures with your crew, your guild. Tell me that's not the best form of a universe to immerse yourself in. Or look at the Mando, a space bounty hunter cowboy in a post-galactic war galaxy fighting against the remnants of the Empire and being an adoptive father and trying to find his way with his religion and his culture, which is now dying out. Trying to hold on to the ways of his people in a galaxy where they're in diaspora. Tell me that doesn't inspire you more than any of the shit on Netflix or fucking Cartoon Network. This shit will surpass all modern day sci-fi and fantasy shows and will live on for many, many, many years to come. Because the impact, not just the Jedi, not just the Sith, not just the Mandalorians, not just the war between light and darkness, but just what this universe is and that inner childhood whimsy we get when we play Star Wars, watch Star Wars, or read Star Wars. This infinite magical universe we all fall in love with and gives us hope. And that hope comes from the fiction into how we look at the universe around us in the real world. And that's why Star Wars will always have meaning to me. It is the universe, okay? It is the science fantasy universe. It is the space Lord of the Rings. It is the space model myth. Let's just go F in the chat for Baby Yoda. He's so freaking cute. And please, Disney, allow me to make a Star Wars snuff film with Darth Maul and Darth Talon. I promise you, I will not disappoint. I will make Slave Leia look like nothing. Please, Disney, give me the money and I'll do it for you. But no, and here's where I'll get into my Legends critique. Comparing Legends to canon, there's similarities, yeah, and I'm not going to completely bash Disney and Lucasfilm. There's been some really good projects, but there's been a lot of corporate greed that has gone in the way of the art and the storytelling that wasn't around during Lucas's tenure as head of Lucasfilm. Under Kathleen Kennedy, there was so much corporate bullshit and cheap Hollywood politics that went into the sci-fi universe that destroyed it. I mean, compare the Star Wars, the Clone Wars TV show, the animated TV show, the 2D, or even the 3D. Compare that to the shit Disney has given us. Like Andor, The Acolyte. These stories were a lot more mature, a lot darker, a lot more nuanced, a lot more personal, and just they weren't trying to sell a product. Well, they were. They were trying to sell a product. They weren't trying to sell politics, and not just like cosmic politics, like the conflict between democracy and imperialism. That's something Star Wars has been doing since day one. No, I'm talking about the politics of SJW, whiny, right wing, left wing, culture war bullshit. I will begin this into a later video after Stars Month is over with. But the war of the fandoms right now, the anti woke, which is now just the woke right, and the woke left are just assholes fighting over their turning entire sci-fi and fantasy universes into Reddit battlegrounds for who's more right and who's more woke or who's more awake. And both political factions do it. I've just seen so many film franchises, and Star Wars is the best example, that have been destroyed by the culture war, Reddit, SJW politics. And SJW can be right wing or left wing. Star Wars has gone from Star Wars to Reddit wars. That's my hot take. Where Star Wars Legends, whether it be a SWOTR, whether it be the Clone Wars, whether it be the New Jedi Order books, they were trying to draw us deeper and deeper into the ether of imagination and mythology and storytelling and meaning. They were not created to sell a brand. Well, they were. They were created to sell a universe and help people did. Same or El Salvador does. Same thing with these does. They created sci-fi, fantasy, epic space operas for us to fall in love with and immerse ourselves with and get lost in. And not just vision people's. When a woman Jedi Master is badass, she was a badass because of her story and what she overcome. When a Sith like Asajj Ventress fell to the dark side, it was because of deep pain, trauma, and loss, and not Hollywood daddy politics. And that's why I'm not a big fan of Star Wars Disney. Legends will always be about taking you deeper into the mythos, into the universe within, the imagination, the collective unconscious. Whereas Disney Star Wars will always be about pure stupidity. And if you're looking for a good show to watch the classic Clone Wars, the 2D. It's great. It really, that's my prime example of Legends cartoons down their best. And play Star Wars the Republic, play KOTOR. That'll help you immerse yourself in the Star Wars universe. Look up a Star Wars Galaxies, fan server, all these things. Immerse yourself in a massive space fantasy universe that has literally almost no end. And I don't know why we sacrificed that for Rey. I have no idea. I will take Asajj Ventress in the 2D Clone Wars as a main character over Rey any day of the week. That's where I'm at in today's video for today, folks. Look, there's so much Star Wars material out there. Whether it be your local library, whether it be on Steam, whether it be a Star Wars online D&D game, which that's really cool. Star Wars The Republic, the SWOTR website, they were running really good fan fictions and Star Wars like roleplay chats on the website before SWOTR was sold. And that would be really cool if we brought back that kind of online nerd culture for Star Wars. It'd be really cool. Till next time, folks, stay sane. Hashtag fuck Disney. Hashtag Darth Talon, Darth Maul snuff film. Hashtag God bless everybody. Have a great Merry. Peace.